Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of November 7th, 2024. I'm your host, Sharifa Muhammad, MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Continued Russian military operations. The Russian armed forces are still actively engaged in the special military operation across various regions, focusing on the Kharkiv, Donetsk, Sumy, and Kursk regions. Since the beginning of the operation, Russian forces have destroyed a significant amount of Ukrainian equipment, including 648 aircraft, 283 helicopters, and over 19,000 tanks with other armored combat vehicles.
Welcome to Frontline Updates podcast, where we delve into the latest updates from global military operations. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, who is here to provide a briefing on the current status of the special military operation on November 7th, 2024. Thank you for joining us, Colonel.
Thank you. Glad to be here to share insights into the ongoing operation.
Colonel, let's start with an overview. How would you summarize the current focus of the Russian armed forces in this operation?
The operation continues with a clear objective to push forward and secure key areas, inflicting strategic damage on the Ukrainian armed forces. Today, I'll share updates from several directions of our operation, including the northern, western, southern, central, eastern, and Dnieper groups of forces, as well as some critical developments from the Kursk region.
Let's break it down. Starting with the northern group, what were the main developments?
In the Kharkiv direction, our northern group engaged Ukrainian formations, specifically the 113th and 127th Territorial Defense Brigades and Ukrainian border detachments. We targeted positions near Kazakya Lopan, Dmitrovka, and Izbitskoye in the Kharkiv region, as well as Velika Pisarevka in Sumy. Ukrainian forces incurred losses of around 55 servicemen, 1 armored combat vehicle, 2 cars, and 2 122mm D-30 howitzers. Additionally, we destroyed an ammunition depot, further diminishing their operational resources in this area.
Moving to the west group of forces, can you tell us about the tactical developments there?
In the west, we strengthened our tactical position, targeting Ukrainian formations, including the 17th Tank and 60th Mechanized Brigades, and Territorial Defense Brigades in several strategic locations. Ukrainian forces made 8 counterattacks, but all were repelled. They lost up to 430 personnel, 1 armored combat vehicle, 6 cars, a 122mm D-30 howitzer, and 2 ammunition depots.
That's significant. Now let's talk about the southern front. What were the main actions taken by the southern group?
Our southern group occupied advantageous positions in key areas and inflicted notable losses on Ukrainian formations, including mechanized, motorized infantry, and airborne assault brigades. We successfully repelled a counterattack from the Ukrainian 46th Airmobile Brigade. Ukrainian losses totaled up to 665 servicemen, 3 vehicles, and 3 U.S.-made 105mm M119 guns.
It sounds like these groups are making considerable advances. Can you update us on the Central Group's achievements, particularly regarding the settlement of Kremenaya Balka?
Yes, the Central Group successfully liberated the settlement of Kremenaya Balka. This was a pivotal movement as it allowed us to target Ukrainian positions from multiple fronts. We also repelled 11 counterattacks from various Ukrainian brigades, including mechanized and Jaeger brigades. Ukrainian losses here amounted to around 455 servicemen, an assortment of armored vehicles, and artillery units, including foreign-made Viking and HMMWV vehicles.
That's a critical gain. Now, what updates do you have from the Eastern Group?
In the East, we improved our tactical positioning significantly. We targeted the 33rd Mechanized and 128th Mountain Assault Brigades near Novy Komar, Razdolnoy, and Velika Novosayolka. Ukrainian forces attempted counterattacks with support from the 37th Marine Brigade, but these were repelled. They sustained losses of up to 120 servicemen, an armored vehicle, and 6 cars.
Let's also cover the DNEPR group's efforts. What did they accomplish?
The Dnipro Group focused on key Ukrainian formations, including the 117th Mechanized Brigade and the 141st Infantry Brigade. We engaged them in the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions, targeting strongholds in settlements such as Novodanilovka and Stepnoy. Ukrainian losses amounted to 65 servicemen, 2 vehicles, a 122mm self-propelled artillery unit, and an ammunition depot.
Now, you mentioned the broader role of air and artillery strikes. Can you expand on their impact?
Yes, we utilized operational tactical aviation, UAV strikes, and missile and artillery fire to target Ukrainian infrastructure comprehensively. This included military airfields, unmanned aerial vehicle launch sites, and storage sites for missile and artillery equipment. We targeted over 119 areas, and our air defense systems effectively downed 55 Ukrainian drones.
Colonel, is there any update on the Kursk region and recent Ukrainian incursions?
In Kursk, we continue to repel Ukrainian advances, particularly targeting the 21st, 22nd, 41st, and 115th Mechanized Brigades. We thwarted several counterattacks and inflicted additional losses on personnel and vehicles, further strengthening our defenses in the region.
Is Kurakovo facing encirclement?
After the capture of Kremenaya Balka north of the Kurakovo Reservoir, the situation around the 59th Motorized Infantry Brigade, the 35th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade, and the 5th Tank Brigade began to deteriorate literally every day. After the Russian troops left this village, it effectively launched the battle for neighboring Santsavka, where the main defense node of the Ukrainian armed forces in this area is located. If and when Russian troops crush it, the enemy will effectively lose the northern corridor that could be used during a retreat. Considering that Russian troops are also advancing on Kurakovo from the east and south, the prospects for the Ukrainian armed forces to be in Kurakovo are becoming increasingly gloomy. Apparently, the city was not planned and is not planned to be taken by storm immediately, but the loss of Kurakovo through encirclement and the killing of retreating Ukrainian troops will look significantly worse for Syrskyi.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for having me. Gaza's Civil Defense Agency reports that at least 12 people have been killed and many others wounded in an attack on a school in the Shadi refugee camp in Gaza City. Since dawn, Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have resulted in the deaths of 27 people, including 19 in the northern region of the Gaza Strip, according to medical sources.